Good morning, good day, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a live stream with DrTorment, which is yours truly, a horror narrator on YouTube who has been strangely absent on the narrating part for a while, I will not lie, but there's a lot going on. Before I delve into that, however, let's have a look at the chat and see who is already here. I believe I saw Cindy saying hello. Hello, Cindy. How you do? House of Jen was actually the first one who was looking forward to this and needed a break. Well, I hope I can accommodate for that, Jen. And then I see Taroxa. Hello, Taroxa. How have you been? Check your Discord pretty please, says Taroxa. Alright, hang on a second. Now, usually I don't really do this because, for those of you that are on Instagram and actually saw a recent quote-unquote story of mine, basically I said I was being absent from social medias. Basically, that means I am absent from private messaging and stuff like that because of reasons. I kind of needed a break. So, let me make a little exception here and just look at my private DMs on the Discords, which I have missed 16 messages of. Okay, that's a good start. Lilith? Sweetie? Yes, I know, sweetie. It's the Roxa. Hola. I'm planning a live stream soon where we play some good old-fashioned Among Us with some friends and horror narrators who wanna join. For now, I don't have a specific date, but it will be in the next few weeks. I would love to, Taroxa. Thank you for the invitation. I'd say if it was in this week or next week, it would probably have to decline. But once you have a date, do let me know, because I do love to know this beforehand. It does help a lot. So yes, I'd love to. Just let me know what day it is once you have a day fixed for it. Don't worry about it, Taroxa, about having missed that. It wasn't really a story I made on it or a post. It was one of those notes you can put on your profile. I believe it's like fixed for about 24 hours or something like that. I don't know. It was a few days ago. Doesn't really matter. Not important. Suburban Siren has joined in. Hello, hello. And my lovely moderator for today, Jinxie, is back. Yay! Saying that I am here just muted for a few minutes. Alright, you do you, boo. That is fine. Now, with that all out of the way, do tell me, how have you guys been? What's going on in the big wide world that I am selectively cut out of? Do tell. Since Jen needs a break, I'm assuming that Jen is a little busy with work there. Taroxa, will do, brother. I'm so glad you're on board. If it's not in the next 2 weeks, lol. Thank you. Amazing. What about you, man? Tired. Really tired. Last week and this week have been... Hectic is not the word I'm looking for here. Unpredictable when it comes to my work schedule. Quite unpredictable and laborsome. But, you know, that's what you get with work. Can't really complain about that. Other than that, I do have an art commission done by someone I met through Lady Spucaria on Instagram. Name is Fleshwat Co. And if I find the art pieces, I will display them on the screen. That said, this is more of an impromptu live stream. I don't really have anything planned for it. There will be some live readings as I go along. Whether they will be my own private writings or something on the Creepypasta wiki, we'll see. Or perhaps a Reddit story that I've already done. Who knows? We'll see about that. The fun part is finding out. Yes, that I'm a bit parched, though. Ooh. Ooh. Taroxa says, I've been going to the office for like a month, socializing and everything. Oh no, you have to be a functioning human being? Oh no, the horror. I mean, I can relate. Don't get me wrong, I'm being a bit of an asshole here, but I can relate to not wanting to socialize and going out. Oh, good lord, can I relate. Let's see here what I have in my archive. So yeah, also this week, obviously there won't be a gaming stream this week. This is not a game stream. Maybe next week, but the reason I chose to do a regular stream now is because I am still a little tired. Not from last week. Like I'm mostly recovered from last week when I was basically getting sick during Dead Space. But I've mostly recovered from that, no worries about that. I'm just a little tired from work on top of that, and now it's, I'm not really in the space to play Mind Space. Oh, there is House of Jen. Welcome, Jen. Welcome, welcome. We were just talking about you. How have you been? Do tell. Am I being a little quiet? I'm just reading through something. There we are. That's a good one. Why not? House of Jen. Oop, what did I do now? No, you didn't do anything, Jen. We were just mentioning. I didn't think you were out already. I thought you were still in the chat, by the way. But we were just mentioning how you were looking forward to it and that you needed a break, and I was kind of wondering if you were busy or not at this moment with work, or if you're taking a small break from it. That's about it, really. Also, it feels like an age since we've talked, Jen. How have you been? Really? How have you been? Also, for anyone that is just jumping into the stream, hello and welcome to the newcomers. I'm DrTorment, a horror narrator here on YouTube. Also, I have a Q&A in the chat right there. So if you need to ask me anything, just post your question over there and I will definitely go over it within reason. There are some things that I simply will not answer, but that'll depend entirely on what the question is. No, it doesn't it? Live reading as in taking recommendations, perhaps. That's usually what I do with live readings. One is always welcome to do a recommendation, so long as the story is not too long. Not only for me, but for the stream itself, because this won't be a long stream. This won't be a stream that will take about 3 hours or so. Like I said before, a bit tired from this week, and I wanted to do something nice and simple. So if you do have a story in mind, feel free to send me a recommendation, let me know, and I'll look over it. Oh yeah, sure, Taroxa. You may certainly suggest something. Go ahead. We are all ears. Everybody look at Taroxa. Everybody look. Point and look. Prepare to laugh. We are waiting, Taroxa, with anticipation. Don't be shy. Come on, give us your recommendation. Dark little voices. How you doing, DLV? How's you and the wife? All good? It's been a while since I heard from you too. Oh God, Torox, I was joking, Torox. I wasn't really like pestering you or something like that. No, please do give us a recommendation. I'm just being a butthole. Or was I? As of Jan, I've been literally working on about 30 different projects all at once this week, and had to turn one down because no force on the planet could make it past ACX. Yeah. I mean, there's always the option to say no, if that is an option. That is usually I like to use that option when they try to saddle me up with work that I just cannot do. Dark little voices. Yeah, just in pain from work. Otherwise, we're good. Good, good. Most excellent. In pain from work. I do relate to this as well. Isha, hello and welcome. Isha says, hey, you duck. For anyone that is not in the know, that was me pretending to be French with cigarette and everything. I'm not really having a cigarette, by the way. That was just like a little inhaling. You know, the French snob thing. Well, for those who are not in the know, Isha is a fellow creator who specializes in SCP content. So if you do like SCP, do give her channel a visit. She animates and draws everything herself. Oh, good lord, chef. Oh, Toroxa, je m'appelle Toroxa. Oh. No, not the wee, no. Cindy says, hi, Esha, love SCP. And also to anyone new, because Dark Little Voices is being a little active in the chat, so that is due a little introduction as well. Dark Little Voices is also a channel, a bit of a duo channel, really. It is husband and wife. They do horror stories as well, and also write their own material. I had the pleasure of doing one of Dark Little Voices' story. It's called The Failure of XII, if memory serves. To this date, I find that one of my top 5 best stories I've ever done on the channel. By all means, if you love that kind of content, let me just go ahead and find the link to that video, and otherwise one can always go ahead and visit their channel as well. By all means, I'm all about promoting talent around here. Speaking of Taroxa, how is your other channel coming along? Because you have another channel, right? The one that you have here, in which you do various kind of iceberg content and documentaries and such. But you also have a horror movie review channel, correct? Of which I have seen... The hell is that? Of which I have seen the first episode of. Project XII. Let me first drop in that video from Dark Little Voices, or the story written by Dark Little Voices, I should say. Hello, Vici. Welcome and goodbye. Always lovely when one of my cats decides to visit. Ooh. Shush, video. I wasn't asking you anything. Oh, the cats are roughhousing upstairs. That's that noise. Alright, so here's a link to the video to all that wants to visit it. This is a story written by Dark Little Voices, of which I had the pleasure of narrating. There's also a little host of other people involved in it. It was a bit of a group project, shall we say. I believe the memory serves. Let me think. Let me have a think here. Narrative Noob plays a character called Dr. Carmine. TJ Hodder from Tapes of Trepidation has two roles, that of the PA system and the helicopter pilot. I believe it was a helicopter pilot, that is. And 242 reads that, let's say, I'm not going to spoil anything, I'm not going to tell you who she is voicing, but I will say that she is the main antagonist of the story, and does so brilliantly. Again, story written by Dark Little Voices. Go ahead and give it a look, if you can. Toroxa Rabbit Holes, documentaries on the Toroxa channel, and Red Tape, that's the new one, indeed. Is our new horror thriller film reviewing channel. Correct. This is correct. All that and no Toroxa. Don't worry, Jesus. Don't worry, Toroxa. I'm going to get there, don't you worry. But I am still waiting for that recommendation you were promising me earlier. We are all waiting with anticipation here. Where is it? Isha cries in croissant. How did I miss that one? Ah, silly. Isha says, it's been a long time since I'd been here, so I thought I'd say a quick hello. Oh, in that case, bonjour. Marty Martin, hi Cindy, hi Dr. T, hello Marty, how are you doing? It's been a while since I've seen you as well, how have you been? Toroxa, yeah you did. Like, if you scroll up, I can always make a screenshot, you know. Throw it in your face. Where's my story, damn it? Oh, that's fine. I do have one ready. No worries about that. Oh, what's this then? There we are. Marty Martin, I had COVID but doing much better. Oh, really? Oh, Christ. House of Jen. By the way, I saw the new RT. It looks amazing. Oh, right. I'm gonna put that art piece up on the screen in a bit. Don't you worry about this. So, Roxa, I don't get it. Is this sarcasm or do I send the story name again? What do you mean again? Did you send it already? No, you didn't. Or did I miss something? Wait, let me scroll up a little bit here. I got you. May I suggest something? And that's when I started doing the silly little thing about everybody look at Toroxa, we're waiting for anticipation, blah 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 joke. And then there's oh lol. But yeah, I'm not seeing any story name there. No, I'm not seeing it unless I'm reading this wrong. I'm not seeing any story name there at all. No. Isha says, I'd love more narrative noob, honestly. Honestly, yes, I do too. It's a bit of a... Well, it's a personal choice, of course. I shouldn't say anything about it. But, yeah, I'd love me some narrative noob. Toroxa, this was the message. This was the message. I'm not entirely sure if there should be something behind or before that, because there isn't. A little confusing. House of Jen, if it was a link, there's a chance it didn't go through. Oh, okay, yeah, no. That is a stream setting. Sorry for that, Roxa. That is my mistake. So, when it comes to links, only me and the mods can insert links here because of self-promotion issues in the past. I basically forbade any links from anyone else that isn't from me or one of the admins. But go ahead and send it to me over on Discord. I should still be able to get it. There's no link, though. Huh. Well, that's just weird, then. Still, send it over to me on Discord. Yeah, send it over on DC. I'll have a look over there. Because that's confusing. Why won't YouTube's chat do it? Unless it has some flagged words in it, because honestly, when it comes to flagged words, YouTube is a bit of a mess. Oh, there we go. Yeah, see, I'm seeing this, and yet for some reason that is not appearing on the stream chat. So Toroxa sent me repost a parallel life Awoken by a lamp on Reddit. It's a cool story I did on my channel. It's nice. It's on Reddit, so I would need permission from the author in order to read it, that being in live or on the channel as a whole. I'm gonna put this in the bank one. I'm gonna put this one in the bank, though. It could be that too. YT's been a mess for a while. A while, you say? A while, Jen. Isha's gotta go. Alright. Bye-bye. Au revoir. Eat your baguettes. Yes, permission granted in the post. You're good. Okay. Usually I stay away from Reddit stuff nowadays, but I'll give it a glance and see. Because Reddit is one, and pardon my friends, one big shithole of a site nowadays that cannot tell the difference between AI slob and actually written stuff. And that kind of pisses me off beyond all things. Let's see here. On what subreddit was this on, Toroxa? Like, on what page on Reddit was this story in? Because if I just type in that, I get a whole lot of different Reddit posts on my search engine, and I do not know which is which. If you have a link to the story, you can always send it to me on Discord, by the way. That might actually be more helpful. In that case, I won't make any mistakes. Toroxa says, a few have asked if they can write a book, screen, a comic book, etc. This open tail source and have fun with it. And go to glitch in the matrix. Okay. I'm assuming this is the right one, because again, there are like 2 to 3 of these subreddits here. Oh. I'm seeing the link. Thank you, Toroxa. There we go. Okay, I was on the right page. 11 years ago. Ooh. Alright, this is actually nice and short. I can actually do this. Yeah. Okie dokie. I'm gonna do this one. That'll be our first reading of the day. Suggestion by Toroxa. If it's not any good, don't blame me. Just go over to Toroxa and, yeah, just blame him. It'll be fine. Just come here over to the chat, say, Toroxa, goddammit, we expected more, what the hell? But for what I'm glancing over here, this is actually pretty good. So that should not be a problem. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna get something to drink. Be back in a minute. I am back. Oh, I kind of needed that drink. I was getting very, very parched. Don't worry about it, YouTube. I'm seriously drinking water this time. Please do not thunderstrike me because I'm drinking water. It's actually very healthy from what I've understood. House of Jan. Holy crap! 2 birds just flew by my head, and the cat came thunder pawing at the door, and I ran up my face. Oh, the image of that alone. That's actually hilarious. I had something similar happen to the cats over here. I was reading a book, The Silmarillion, for those wondering. And I have the skylight right above me, right? Because it gives off the most light. And as I was reading, like, I think it was a crow or a dove that flew by. I couldn't have a real look at it, but it flew by the skylight, and all 3 of my cats just jumped on me. And I had to throw my book at the side in order to save it. Which it is. It is not a crease in it or anything like that. Silmarillion is just perfect. But yeah, they were just standing at the skylight and not paying any attention to me. Like, they didn't care that they were basically using me as some kind of a fleshy trampoline to get up. But that is fine. This is cats. See here. Oh, the story that Toroxa recommended is actually 11 years old. Ooh, that makes it a bit of a classic. Well, that's good. Let's see. Let me just get the foreword out of the way. One of my favorite glitches is this one posted by what the hell is that name? Utemptotasoon. Okay. Who apparently lives an entire life in the moments after a head injury. He eventually awakes from his dream when he notices that something is strange about her lamp. That sounds very, what's that movie name again? Sounds very much like Inception. Okay. People are always asking for it, but because it's a comment rather than a proper post, it's hard to search for. So I'm reposting it here to give the story its proper place in glitch history. Note, I am not the original poster. Original poster's account was a throwaway and the original comment is 3 years old. So don't expect any question answering from he or me. Him or me, but, well, who am I? No, so this is not the original poster. Should I risk it then, is the better question. I'm just having another glance over at the post itself. Oh, there it is. Well, the original poster actually made an Inception or Star Trek episode comment, like so many have mentioned. Never seen the movie or the show, which is fine. It is a very similar concept, though, so I will not blame the OP for this. I've heard many piano describe similar points of view. Many versions. Open source and have fun with it. Okay, yeah, sure. No, that's a confirmation. Okie dokie. Now let me take a little sip first. House of Jan breaks out the red editing pen. Yeah, basically. Teroxa heads up, may have grammatical mistakes. I can live with grammatical mistakes, trust me. I've seen bad stuff in my day. Including my own. Don't worry about it. Alright, let's have a look. This is a parallel life / Awoken by a lamp by the username Temto Too Soon. I have no idea how to say this, but never mind. Here we go. My last semester at a certain college, I was oh, this is from a female perspective, I think. Redo. My last semester at a certain college, I was assaulted by a football player for walking where he was trying to drive. Note he was 325 pounds and I was 120. I'm not sure if that's pounds or not. Gen LBS, please translate to me in euro units. I'm not familiar. 325 LBS and I was 120 LBS. Euro samples, please. While unconscious on the ground, I lived a different life. I met a wonderful young lady. She made my heart skip and my face red. I pursued her for months and dispatched a few jerk boyfriends before I finally won her over. After 2 years, we got married, and almost immediately, she bore me a daughter. I had a great job and my wife didn't have to work outside of the house. When my daughter was 2, she, my wife, bore me a son. My son was the joy of my life. I would walk into his room every morning before I left for work and doted on him and my daughter. One day, while sitting on the couch, I noticed that the perspective of the lamp was odd, like inverted. It was still in 3D, but just wrong. It was a square lamp base, red with gold trim on 4 legs, and a white square shade. I was transfixed. I couldn't look away from it. I stayed up all night staring at it. The next morning, I didn't go to work. Something was just not right about that lamp. I stopped eating. I left the couch only to use the bathroom at first. Soon I stopped that too, as I wasn't eating or drinking. I stared at that goddamn lamp for 3 days before my wife got really worried. She had someone come and try to talk to me. But by this time my cognizance was breaking up and my wife was freaking out. She took the kids to her mother's house just before I had my epiphany. The lamp was not real. The house is not real. My wife, my kids, none of that is real. The last 10 years of my life are not real. The lamp started to grow wider and deeper. It was still inverted dimensions. It took up my entire perspective, and all I could see was red. I heard voices, screams of all kinds of weird noises, and I became aware of pain. A ton of pain. The first words I said were, "I'm missing teeth." and opened my eyes. I was laying on my back on the sidewalk, surrounded by people that I didn't know. Lots were freaking out. I was completely confused. At some point, a cop scooped me up and dragged me across the sidewalk and grass and threw my face down the back of a cop car. I was still confused. I was taken to the hospital by the cop, since he didn't want to wait for the ambulance to arrive, and was to be given CT scans and the like. I went through about 3 horrid years of depression. I was grieving the loss of my wife and children and dealing with the knowledge that they never existed. I was scared that I was going insane as I could cry myself to sleep, hoping I would see her in my dreams. I never have, but sometimes I see my son, usually just a glimpse out of my peripheral vision. He is perpetually 5 years old, and I can never hear what he says. And that was a parallel life, or aka Awoken by a Lamp by username Tempto to Soon. Again, whatever that name is. For the life of me, cannot pronounce that correctly, I think. But there we go. That was a recommendation by Taroxa. Thank you very much, Taroxa. I did have to improvise here and there because, again, YouTube being YouTube, it doesn't allow me to say certain words too quickly after another. But yeah, thank you, Taroxa, thank you. I'm glad to see that you thought it was good. Cindy says, I've been watching police body cam videos. They are wild. Yes, I have too. That's some wild stuff that's happening sometimes. Christ. I suddenly get why those guys have to wear vests sometimes. My god. As of Gen, 148 kilograms and 62 kilograms. Okay, thank you for the conversion from freedom units to euro units there, Jen. Thank you very much. Oh, applesauce. I should have put the story name and everything on the screen, didn't I? Can I still do that? Would it be too late, chat? Surely not. I think it's too late. That doesn't really matter. The well, not the link will be in the description because Reddit links on YouTube again, bit of a hassle because YouTube doesn't like Reddit links because it's associated to not safe for work content and yada yada yada. But you know what? What else on the internet isn't? But yeah, even YouTube is not that big of a fan of Reddit, so I will post the name of it, as well as in what subreddit to find it in the description later after the live stream. And yes, Taroxa, there were some grammatical mistakes here and there in the text, but I could actually live with it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but definitely could use a period here and there. The commas were way too much, like way too long sentences, but if I were to make a video out of this is something that I can solve myself in editing in a script. That's not really a complaint that is here or there. Shut up, YouTube. I don't want to put on automated ads. Go away. Shoo. During the stream, this is an ad-free stream. Shoo. Christ. YouTube pushing the advertisements again. Ooh, that's good water. Nice and cool. In the meantime, let me have a look if there's something I can put out there. Maybe one of my own writings. There's an idea. I've been playing with that idea a lot, haven't I? And I do admit that the writing itch is coming back because I found some lovely new people that are into writing and stuff. Don't know if they're in the stream or not. If you are, hello and welcome. And if not, and you're looking in from the future, again, hello and welcome. And if you're not there at all, well, I said hello and welcome twice. You're not getting a third. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Just going to keep that parallel life story on my screen here because I don't want to lose it. Ooh, that's a bright screen. Ooh. Then I put this on dark. Christ, my eyes are burning. Ooh. Never do that again, screen. What the hell? Flashbang me with my own screen? How dare you? What is this? Man with shimmering eyes. Oh, not that. Definitely not that. House of Jen, that's some high quality H2O. You have no idea. H2O. Oh, hit my own microphone there. The H2O is doing wonders for me today. Ooh, that's a wonderful H2O right there. Hello, Babes Mariba. Hello, and welcome. This is one of my lovely channel members. Hello, Mariba, excuse me. How have you been? How you doing? We're all waiting with anticipation for your answer. And Jinxie is back. Good. The police has returned. Marty says, splash some water in your eyes. I'd love to, but then I have to get up again, and I'm just seated so comfortably right now. I don't think I will. Maybe later. Right as I go to bed. That's always a good idea, to splash water on my eyes then. Or, you know, eye holes. On 7 of 14 hours of work. I had to get some snacks. Ooh. 7 hours of 14. Christ, Jinxie, I don't know how you do that. I'd be knackered afterwards. Properly knackered. Mariba says, I'd say above average. How about all of you? Well, been better, but feeling a lot better since last week. Had a lot of the H2O to consume. Work has absolutely exhausted me due to its unpredictable schedule this week, which bothers me a lot. That's about it. And that's why I decided to not do a gaming stream today, because I needed to do something relaxing. Something that was a little... Well, this is a word that Jinxie is more familiar with. Mellow. I needed to do something that was a little bit mellow. Literally sitting at a desk and selling the devil's lettuce. Yes, selling the devil's lettuce. Jinxie, you distributor, you... What was I looking at again? Ah, right. My own writings. Whoopsie boopsie. No, not that one. No. Nah, not that one too. Maybe it's just that I don't have a lot of confidence in my own little writing endeavors. Yeah, let's call it that. Yeah, maybe there should be something in the short stories. Surely. I thought I had some. Where is the well? I mean, I know that's a story I did. Or, no, did. The story I penned down. Where the hell is it? Yeah, that's alright. I'll just look it on my blog spot, which I do have. Or blogger.com, whatever it's called nowadays. What, Dr. Torment? You have a blog? Yes, I do. That I do. Ah, there it is. I was wondering where you were, you little minx. Yeah, I'm gonna read this one for y'all. Back to the chat. Let's see what I've missed, if I did miss anything. House of Jen, writers are their worst critics. By all means, Jen, you're welcome to criticize me as you are. Do send me a reminder of that if you're interested. Mary Bear, hi Jen, hi Marty, sorry and everybody, hand heart emoji. Yay. Let's see about... Oh, that's in a bit though. That's not right now. Okay. The next story is called The Well, written by yours truly, but before I'm going to put that up, before I'm going to start reading, let me just put that up right here. If I find the button for it, that is. Oh, button. Button. There you are. No. Not you. Different button. I have to make a new one, don't I? Oh, that's just lovely. Properties. So I should have done this with the earlier text, basically with the Reddit story I got from Toroxa. I completely forgot about it because I keep forgetting stuff. I'm just that kind of a person. I forget things. Boop. There we are. Let's see, should be readable. The Well by DrTorment. So, just a bit of context here. This is happening in a dark fantasy world. Stumbling over my words there. This is something that happened in a dark fantasy world. It is something that I've written 5 to 6 years ago and published it on a blog spot about... Oh yeah, 5 years ago. In 2021. For some reason, my head was still in 2024. So yes, in 2021, so that means that I've actually written the story 6 to 7 years ago and put it on Blogspot 5 years ago. Well, I say 5. I know we're 2025 and that's 2021, but 2026 is so close by, I'm gonna say it's 5 years, okay? It's too close already. Is it? Hang on, 25th of October 2021. Huh. You know what? No, I was wrong. It's been 4 years. That's actually closer to 4 than it is to 5. No, I was wrong, chat. You heard me say it here first. I do make mistakes. That's all over the place. House of Jen, I can try. I can't promise it would be quick. I can't promise it would be quick with my current workload. No, don't worry, Jen. I'm not expecting you to take time out of your work schedule just for my stuff. By all means, some things do have precedence. Babes Maribag, you wrote a story? Can't wait! Woohoo! Yes, I know. I did. I did wrote a story. I was there. Toroxa, no worries, bruh. I'm not your bruh. And I worried all the time. I don't know. That was something I wanted to do for a long time. Marty, special hello to all the kitties. Wait, were the kitties making noises? Ladies, were you making noises? Yoo-hoo? Huh. No, I'm not hearing them, but then again, I have noise-cancelling earphones, so that might be on me that I missed them. Babes Mariba, I could have 10 lovely assistants and still forget things. This is fine. I forget things as well. Jinxie, you're always wrong. Well, damn, Jinx, no need to cut me that deep. What the hell have I ever done to you? Christ. That said, I am looking a bit at the time. Like I said, I'm not gonna make this a long stream. It will be about 2 hours or so, not 3. 1 hour has passed, which does mean that I will be having a little break here. Have a bit of a stretch, have something more to drink, get some fresh air. Smother a child somewhere in a well, who knows? But I will be right back. See you in 5 minutes from now. I have returned. And once again, thank you, Rocky. Welcome to the stream, and thank you for your donation. Thank you so much. Rocky donated about $5 to the channel, saying, keep up the good work, and I do intend to do this, good sir. Once again, thank you, and I do hope that you two have a lovely weekend. House of Gem, been an adventure. Yeah, a little bit, not gonna lie. Hang on, I had something ready, didn't I? Right, reading. There we are. Reading The Well by DrTorment. Speaking of that bloody story, where did I put it? Story? Story, where are you? There you are. I was about to get angry. So while this is already posted on a blog, I will actually put a link of said story in the chat, because I do not think Jinxie has the link to this, so I'll just do this myself. I'll just do this a la Thanos. Badoom. So anyone who wants to give it a read or explore the world of Taiagion as it is, written by yours truly, feel free to have a look and visit. I always appreciate constructive feedback if you can give any. With that said, I also have a lot more stories and poems pertaining to that world, not yet published on this blog spot, but without further ado, reading The Well. I first need to make it a little bit bigger so it's easier for me to read. There we go. High shone the noon sun above Vein Split. The town's bell rang to announce the hour of the day. Folks here had a quiet life and enjoyed the sereneness of nature around them. Two rivers with rocky shores, Rocky? Two rivers with rocky shores with green hills topped with white and yellow flowers made for an eye-sweet landscape for those with a weakness for nature. Children would play on the outskirts of the town so as not to interrupt the working adults. Its location gave the townsfolk more assurance, as the natural barriers of the rivers on the north side prevented any raids, as the bridges could easily be set to collapse, and in the south had an encampment of a regiment of soldiers not 2 hours away if the need arises. These parts of the heartlands have always been praised for the lush and serene landscape. Using serene twice, that still needs some editing, I see. Sorry. Correcting myself, Christ. These parts of the heartlands have always been praised for the lush and serene landscape. Let's change that to verdant. For the lush and verdant landscape, and where woodland animals skittered and flew fearlessly around, as the folk here don't hunt, but farm and gather fruits and vegetables to satisfy their hunger since the earliest times. It is funny because with the last story I did say that the author made the sentences too long with way too many commas. I forgot to put in the commas. Alright, enough of that. The center of Vein Split had a low well, which was deep and dark, and a need for the townsfolk, despite the feeling of being watched from it. They built their wood and stone houses in a circle around it, yet far enough to feel more at ease, as the well had an ill reputation, despite being the slow-beating heart of the town. More than once did someone fall in there and become lost. When drawing the water from beneath, it became a tradition to go in pairs or groups, lest another clumsy went missing. Despite the water, the grass around it dried out, but there was a custom that the locals invented to quell their fears about the well. It is said that dropping a personal item into the depths below would increase the chances of good fortunes in life. No belongings ever resurfaced or were found again when someone dropped a bucket down to collect water. They disappeared, much like the unfortunate townsfolk that fell in before. Memories of the lost faded away like snow in spring, and those willing to part with something so precious to them often moved away from the town and found greater fortunes in life the further they went, leaving behind all knowledge of their years in vein split. One red morning, some children played near the town's well, as the sun rose and sang the salesman nursery rhyme for hours on end. This is the children singing the rhyme, by the way. As a refresher, I might do that rhyme after this story. Slowly the sky rolled golden and blue as the sun rose further and promised a warm day ahead. When they stopped singing, at least for a breather, there was a sudden applause and cheer. It came from the deep well. Most of the children ran, maybe fearing a ghost would grab them, shouting their rushed claims of hearing roars and moans. But one sullen girl remained with a piqued curiosity and stepped towards the clapping and cheering. Surprising it was to see that this one did not flee the sudden merry noises and came towards their origins. To her, they were no scary sounds, but more like a party. A party just for her. How sad that as the others ran, the clapping and cheer slowly faded into nothing and turned to someone weeping. Maybe whoever was down there just needed some cheers back. Maybe whoever cheered on from below was happy for them to play above such a sunny morning while this person was stuck. Running towards the well, she yelled not to leave whoever was down there. To whoever was down there. Looking down, she saw an odd person. An odd, funny-looking young man, almost childish, in a fool's attire, as grey and pale as his skin looked surprised back up to her. His soft, rosy eyes showed a sadness his wide smile tried to hide. How long must he have been down there? How did he get down there? Is no one even missing him? The girl lowered the well's bucket and told the odd man to sit in it so she could hoist them out, but he looked confused, not knowing what to do. It took her some time to explain but the fellow went from confusing to sad. Stringing his words in short rhymes with a pleasant voice, he explained that he ran away from a traveling troupe of entertainers because they made fun of his friendly but oh so simple ways. They would, for example, laugh at his head and kicked away his bag of toys, which he had often gifted to children coming to see their performances. He wondered where the girl's friends ran off to, but she knew that the fellow had a clue about this. As carefully as possible, she explained that his jeering startled them, which made a tear drop in the water he was in. Oh God, man. I published this? Christ, I need to re-edit. I definitely need to re-edit this. The dark waters ripple and light up enough to shine on the child's face, but not to cause pain in her eyes. A cool, snowy white light for a warm day. The air around her felt like a comforting hug and smelled like a sweet pie freshly baked. Wondering if he could do magic, the girl asked if that's how he lived down there. His curly shoes stood on the waters below like it was a stone floor. Maybe the well was just that shallow at this time. Running away from bullies and living alone as a musician, who is to say how the well was enchanted that maybe none but him and those approved could see the true depths and space? It was a marvel to think of, much like she thought of the mages throughout history and their abilities. The odd fellow below asked if her friends would come back, but that made her silent. Being in a group doesn't mean they're friends to her. She was made fun of too. Living simple and poor, mockery stung like a hot blade even in the smallest of jests. A resentment towards those with parents but spent time away from them. Had she known hers, she'd stay and love them every day, not like her group, hating the farms they grew up in, always complaining about work and trying to avoid their parents. Such luck to have both in their lives with an assured future, and yet here they were, skipping their work and the people that lay before them. Such friends. Her sadness and thoughts were felt by the odd fellow below, so he sang her the salesman's rhyme that her so-called friends did before. Brazenly, the girl said to stop it, as they sang it only to scare her, and to that the fellow wondered aloud if she was a wicked one. Thinking about it, often she would have some wicked thoughts and fantasies, sure, but never acted on them, so she assured the odd fellow that no, she was not. Smiling again, the fellow told her that there was nothing to be scared of, and the others were just dumb mice not knowing cheese when they see it. In a poof, his face changed to that of a cute mouse with a three-way pointed hat. Three-way pointed hat? Like a jester's hat, I think I was trying to say that, but without saying jester. Take a little sip here. The funny sight and the jingling bells made the girl smile again. A few improvised acrobatics in that confined space, and her laughter warmed the fellow's heart, so it seemed. His head changed back, and the girl asked if the fellow had any friends at all himself. He explained that if he had any, they would have found him, which is how the spell on the well worked. Considering the girl could see him, he suggested that maybe she was his friend. He explained that others could still hear him if he was loud enough like today, but spells of sounds were more tricky than a play on the eyes. In a way, it made sense, as there has been only honesty and— oh god, what happened to my screen? Don't do that, laptop. In a way, it made sense, as there has been only honesty and laughter since they met so shortly. But she loudly wondered if he was the reason why people don't like the well that much. He admitted that he was, but not for the things they believed. Odd noises and growls were just him snoring or reading loudly, his books often about monsters which he had mimicked like a stage play. Again, it made a certain sense, as he rhymed words like speaking in constant songs or short poetry. The fellow asked if the girl wanted to see his humble abode, and she considered it for some time. Vainsplit was a quaint and calm town, but the ignorance and arrogance of the folk here were too ugly to live with. All she had to do was jump, and she'd be in her new home, or so the fellow at least promised. Maybe there, no one laughs at them, no one would judge them, no one to tell them how to live their lives. None of life's cruelty to pester them ever again. She closed her eyes in joyous belief and jumped towards the stretched arms of the wide grinning fellow. His arms never got her. Cold, deep, and dark were the thick waters she fell into. Her stomach and lungs slowly filling up, and none of her panicked cries could be heard. As if they had a will of their own, thick sludges of mud silenced her mouth at every attempt to cry out, like a tentacle slithering down her throat. A final look to the sky above, and there yet was the grey child man, smiling amusingly with a gloved fist under his white chin, looking down with those flaring rosy eyes. She never was truly missed, just another fool that carelessly fell down the deep well. Another one ensnared by an illusion of hearing what others could not. Another free mind snuffed out for not submitting to the will of another like the other simpletons of the town would. Another soul to satisfy an old pact of fertility promised to the townsfolk but remembered by no one, but maybe the oldest and wisest. By far, Veinsplit was not the only place where such a curious well was, and not always the danger within took such a form. Closets left ajar in the night, the faint wisp of a name carried in the wind, a small road leading to some place no map shows, a friend behaving differently that leads to a queer gathering under the pale moonlight. At times, or so the settlers of old believed, progress required a dreadful push, and the forgotten will still hungers to deliver. And that was The Well, set in the fantasy world Taiagion, written up by me, yours truly, DrTorment. In hindsight, as I was reading this, you may have noticed I took a few pauses here and there that, yeah, I really need to re-edit this. Definitely need to re-edit this. I'm not so happy now that I've actually read it. But do tell me, what do you guys thought of it? I haven't looked at the chat the entire time, by the way. Mind. Jinx, have a link for what? The link that I showed just before you answered with that one, Jinx. You don't have any link to my blogspot, as far as I am aware of. Hello, Lady Spookaria. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. How you doing, Spooky? Everything is fine. Lady Spookaria, it was really good. House of Jen, that was really cool. Lady Spookaria, reading things out loud lets you find mistakes you miss when you're writing. Yes, but here's the thing, lady. This is something that I've actually published on a blogspot about 4 years ago. So, yeah, that's the fact that's actually quote-unquote published with the mistakes that's in there. Ooh, abysmal. That said, I can still edit it while it's on the blog there. Can still edit it. And I will, once I have time. First things first. First I need to finish Dracula Chapter 3, then the other stuff comes. I really need to focus on that for this month. Especially now that this week is over, I should have like a lot more time to finally finish what I was setting out for at the beginning of this week. House of Jen, when you write, what language is it in? Well, predominantly English, but I have the tendency to use, I know, I used to be a part-time teacher English. I know this will sound like blasphemy, But as I'm writing, especially when I'm writing and typing too fast, I tend to use the Dutch sentence structure. So sometimes the sentence doesn't really make sense to native English speakers and listeners. This was before I actually was a part-time teacher, by the way, when I wrote this up and when I started the blogspot. This is like 2 years before I even studied for that, before I got my certificate. So, yeah, do forgive me. I wasn't that much of not sure how to say the word, but I wasn't that much of a grammar German from the 40s. I have no idea how YouTube would react if I actually said the word. This is how strange the world is to me when it comes to YouTube. Like it preaches freedom, but it censors you unnecessarily. It's silly. It's silly like that. Also, lady, hello, welcome again to the stream. How have you been? How's the rest of your game stream going? Where did you end on Fallout? Because what I last remembered from the gaming stream of yours, Bukaria, I remembered you were talking to Desmond, and after that it becomes a bit of a blur. Short-term memory is a bit of a bish. Bukaria, I'm good, I haven't slept yet, and I was wide awake. Maybe you should go to sleep. It's a weird idea. Maybe you should go to sleep, Spooky. I don't know. Don't think that's a good idea. You're not sleeping. I met the guy Desmond hates and I need to decide who to side with. Well, personally, I always go for Desmond because the other guy, bit of a dickhole, really. The other guy is a bit of a dickhole, so feel free to side with Desmond. Nobody likes the lunatics, after all. I'm not reading anything now. You can go away now. Oh, that's right. I promised to show the new artwork I had commissioned from an artist that Lady Spokaria recommended to me. Again, her name is FleshWhatCo on Instagrams. On the Instagrams. And where the hell is my folder? Where are you? Ah, there you are. I was about to say. Ooh. Too big. Too big. Ooh. So, yeah, jump scare, if you're looking at the screen. Whoops. That was not supposed to happen. I have no idea why it comes across as so large before I can actually put it in. Oh well. It's fine. Boo. Why is it not allowing me to change the... This is weird. It's not allowing me to change the size. Usually it does let me do this. What the hell, OBS? How dare you? Or maybe if I try one by one. Maybe it was just a little confused. No, it's not. I cannot pick it up or anything. What? There we... I'm an idiot. Alright, I'm just an idiot. There we go. I had the feature on lock. There we go, that's better. Now the other one, which I can... There we go. Bloop. So there we go. 2 versions. One with a bit of a golden skull and one with a grey skull. Again, made by Fleshwat Co. Actually, let me see if I can get a... I should have a link to her Instagram channel here. Hold on a second. I should have it here somewhere. Come here now. Come here, little Link. I need you. Don't make me bring out the whips. Ah, there we are. The thread of the whips always work. So to anyone that is interested to see more of Fleshwat Co.'s artwork, or maybe even commission them, by all means, visit this link. Tell them I sent you her way, and also tell them that I said hi. Lovely lady. She knew exactly what I wanted. I'm just gonna keep these artworks here for the remainder of the stream. I just love them so much. I'm more partial to the one, to the not grey one, but also the grey one I also like a lot. Like, yes, it's different color scheme for the skulls basically, but I like them both so much. It's so much fun. Let's see, what else can I have a read? Oh, I had a creepypasta already, right? Which is a... not really a long read, but it is a bit longer than the 2 previous stories I've done thus far. Before I read it, let me just get this out of the way. What's it called? Well, so for anyone new to the stream or just joining in, I do have a Q&A set up, so do please ask me anything within reason. There are some things I, of course, will not answer. Private stuff predominantly, but we'll see about that when the questions actually start hitting, if there are any questions, that is. There we go. Oop. There we are. And that is not spelled correctly. This is what I meant. Did I type too fast? There we are. There we are. The Memetic symbol by Author Unknown. If I saw that correctly, that the author is unknown? Yes. Author unknown, but it is a story that's been around since 2011, so you could say it's a bit of a creepypasta unknown classic, if you will. Okay, it's spooky. Go take your nap, have a little sleepy sleep, and I'll speak to you later. Now, before I'm going to read this, once again, I'm going to prepare a glass of water. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Wabam! I have returned. Earlier than 2 minutes, I know. This is how fast it actually is to get a glass of water. Who would have thought? So, lady has taken a nap. Oh, Cindy, hello. Cindy, welcome back. No, I haven't gone as of yet. Oh, wait, no, lady is. As I said, I've just returned getting a glass of water, and I'm about to read the creepypasta, The Memetic Symbol by Author Unknown, a story that's been around since 2011, a bit of a hidden gem, if you will. Let's get this started. The Memetic Symbol. Even as I come to the realization that nothing in this world can pierce the hopelessness that ruins every stimulus I can still come up upon, I find a reliable sense of wonder when imagining how patient it has been. Its origins and its creation, its nature and its effects. This always makes me shudder with a palpable sense of despair mixed with awe at my strange fate. I have regressed into sympathizing with it, into turning to its titanic lack of mercy and all-encompassing designs in order to feel anything. It is the only real thing, I guess. The only thing with a purpose left in it. I used to be a studier of memetic theories. Advanced sociology with a specialty... Advanced socio... Oh, God Christ. This is not a hard word for me. How the hell did I stumble on my tongue there? Ooh. I used to be a student of memetic theories. Advanced sociology with a specialization in all things information technology. I had written some well-respected studies on general behavior on the internet, the spread of the ideas, the way people communicate depending on the subject matter. Whoa. 2 girls, 1 cup, but with more analysis, detachment, and looking at how quickly things get attention and how it is related to man's creation of culture. I decided to turn towards outliers next, the fringes and the corners of the internet. Lost information. I scoured for obscure P2Ps and used extensive programs, my God, to make my investigations go faster. I simply looked for anything forgotten, useless, half-cooked, unique, empty, lonely, or downright useless on the internet. I figured it could become a book, a study, or a decent hobby. When I found it, there was one thing that called to my attention: the channel name. I was using any and all ways to access any kind of IRC there was, trying to see what stood out. Where I saw it, I've long since forgotten, but what I saw was exactly what I was looking for. The name of the channel was skewed at an angle rather than a smooth line of text with a designated box. Rather than text, it was designated by a symbol, and not the kind available through any Unicode or script I knew of. Yet, upon examination of the site's code, there was nothing indicating an image rather than a script. In fact, there was nothing indicating that the channel could even exist. The script didn't allow for more than a few channels, and the one the symbol made one too many. The next day, I took my hard drive to the garage, and then prepared to hook up my spare with my trusty screen and keyboard. Upon connecting, I noticed something that made my face lock and prickly moisture form underneath my eyelids. There's some weird sentence structuring in here that I cannot place my finger on, but alright. The letters, arrows, and other symbols on the keyboard has been usurped, absorbed, eaten. The symbol had taken every spot. On the screen's frame, the name Phillips had been replaced with a row of 7 symbols. A bag of snacks lying on my desk had met the same change, and only the symbols could be read. Stunned as I was, my mind didn't take to work until I accidentally glanced at my watch and saw that I was too late. The more profane, sheltered part of my brain won me over, declaring the whole thing an impressive prank designed by a pair of friends noted for their odd humor and knowledge of my new hobby. It even assured me that they could have made the snacks back, possibly to test their commitment. I took the bag and everything affected along with the hard drive, and with a flash of instinct, I threw them into a rocky ditch on my way to work. Work went easily, and a quick phone call to my girlfriend, who usually lived with me but was on a conference, assured me that she would be home soon, eager to hear of the amazing joke the infamous pair had pulled this time. By lunch, I made up my mind for takeout and drove to a sandwich diner. I entered and placed myself in line, opening a newspaper lying abandoned on a nearby table. Surveying the menu, I decided upon something grilled first, and then felt the visual equivalent. Oh my god, what the hell is going on? Surveying the menu, I decided upon something grilled first, and then felt the visual equivalent of a sucker punch as I saw that symbol sitting innocently in place of the word mayonnaise. With what must have been Christ, what is with me today? I might not be entirely out of it. There we are, a little sip. There we go. With what must have been unsettling concern, I asked the person behind me whether he saw the symbol on the menu. I can't recall the person's gender, but I do remember the look. It was as if my question broke a rule. The face of the person twitched, as if I had jumbled their mind to mush just by asking. The twitching hastily stopped and was replaced with a look of the most complete lack of understanding. All this apparently unremarkable to the person in the closest line who had seen the whole thing. I rounded on the cashier, asking for my order, and with a deep sense of foreboding, for some mayonnaise on the side. Her young frame made a strange quivering motion that seemed to involve every single one of her muscle, and then simply looked at me. Her face normal, save for an awkward lack of understanding, as if I had asked for something with a foreign name, or at least a kind of condiment she had never heard of. I waved my demand away, took my order, and by now forgetting any sense of inhibition or proper behavior, bolted out of the place. I rushed for the first deli I saw. I looked in every aisle, drawing worried and disapproving glances as I surveyed every square inch for mayonnaise, asking every shopper I met whether they knew what mayonnaise was, only to be given the same dumb stare. When I did happen upon the place where mayonnaise could be found, the shelves were stacked with small statuettes, featuring the symbol in perfectly grey stone upon a small grey dais. Remarking upon this to the nearest shopper created the same spasms, followed by a look I myself have given to those asking for something in a foreign tongue. I directed their gaze towards the symbols and then watched in fascinated horror as the spasms overtook them, only to leave them turning their gaze away, looking towards me with a look of inquiry, suggesting my request had been completely unintelligible. The memory of seeing the symbols had glanced off, or perhaps been received and then forgotten. maybe erased. The instant that they were seen, to this day, I wonder how, even as I spent most of the time whispering, why. I found a bookcase and scoured dictionaries for the word, only to find the haunting symbol in every copy. Cookbooks showed the same replacement, even in recipes where no real substitute for mayonnaise could exist and where the dish would suffer. I knew by now that this was no prank or unique hallucination on my part, and in a last bid for sanity, I asked the first person I came across to indulge me by reading the recipe out loud. He tentatively took the book, shot me a curious look, and read the lists of ingredients. I had no real sense of hope, but I did feel my mind jettisoning all its notions of reality and convictions about the paranormal when he started to have uncontrollable spasms the minute he was to pronounce the symbol, only to proceed with the next ingredient as if nothing had ever happened. I asked him what you got if you got me. What the hell? What's that? Again, it's a story from 11 years old. I asked him what you got if you make. Okay, there we go. That's what I meant. I asked him what you got if you mixed egg yolks with vegetable oil, vinegar, salt, mustard, and pepper. He simply said, "Sounds like it would taste funny, but good," still eyeing me with bemusement and suspicion. "You get mayonnaise," I said, and the spasms overtook him. He angled his head as if he'd not heard me and then said, "Sorry?" I dropped my shoulders and said, "You get XII, a Russian paste. Make it fluffy. XII sounds tasty with tuna." By the time I had come home, I was deathly nervous, having bought a dictionary and begun looking patiently through it. With a permanent film of sweat upon me, I scrutinized every page. I trembled at the thought of what effects the symbol could create next. A knocking at the door. I left the dictionary open on my desk and opened it, only to find my live-in girlfriend beaming back at me, her eyebrows stuck between concern and amusement at my no doubt harried air. I explained myself as having come back from a jog and embraced her happily. She responded in kind, and I hoped to brush over the spreading sense of being at the mercy of the symbol by asking her about her journey while I prepared her some dinner. Having recently read of the dangers of red meat and its many tasty byproducts, our household was recently swearing by chicken, and I was preparing some fajitas for us while she was detailing the conference. She was an employee at a company selling risk assessment for other companies interested in investing in third world countries. That is a mouthful, Christ. Again, commas, people, use them. Apparently, the war launched by New Carthage had not sustained critical problems to the poor citizens in the remains of the Ottoman Combine. The place was now quickly being invaded, not by troops sent to kill their dictator, but rather people hoping to make a quick buck and gain a footing. The conference would mean her company had busy days in the future. I asked her about the journey back as I placed pieces of chicken breast in my special marinade. I can still remember the glottal sounds as her body repelled the word normal. It grew at an exponential rate after that. Time and time again, I showed my girlfriend the symbol that had taken place of normal in the dictionary, on the internet, in writing, and presumably in speech. Every time she would have the same small paroxysms, and only to ask me, "Look at what?" exasperated and worried about my frightened weeping. I tried to keep her with me for as long as possible. I wanted her comfort and humanity while I could still have it, yet at the same time, watching her represent the same deconstruction as all other humans felt tore at me so bad. What the hell are these sentences? Christ. Watching her represent a lot of humans felt tore at me so bad. The hell with it. Tore at me so badly I could barely keep a straight face, not even to make her happy. It was like watching an amputee keep on working as if the amputated part had never been there, working around the absence as well as she could, only to spasm and forget as soon as her mind turned to the thing that would have been there, before the symbol. But it wasn't just a word. It was its very substance, meaning, concept, and form that was replaced. Things the humans of my dimension dictated to be statues turned into those brooding grey effigies one day. Then the other day, the word nails was gone, and buildings collapsed en masse with my girlfriend, along with all other humans, had her fingertips covered with the symbol. I stayed with her until the day I awoke only to see a pair of symbols where her eyes should have been. She flailed for me as I left. She wasn't in panic, she didn't even remember that she could see. She just saw darkness. But she remembered that I used to be with her, and now I was not. I strangled her. What else could I have done? Compared to what met the others, it was mercy. Even before everything thought to be eyes was exchanged with the symbol, people had been rendered pathetic and unstable by the unfelt absence of words like strong, pyramid, particle, yes, any imaginable word disappeared, only to leave the symbol, I guess. The words as well as what they represented disappeared. Soon the night sky had an enormous symbol instead of the moon, and naturally the tides became erratic, flooding the blinded people who lived by the shores even as they fought starvation, trying their best to talk in between themselves, trying to understand why it was they could not see things. As for a cruel play, humans lost the concept of sight and vision weeks after their eyes became replaced with that symbol. Of course, soon dehydration and hunger killed those not dead of accidents, and I was glad that their mouths disappeared as quickly as they did, freeing me from hearing their broken pleas for help. I watched in a mixture of complete sorrow and detachment as skyscrapers, lampposts, trees, dogs, cats, and so on turned into grey symbol statuettes of varying sizes. Why did it leave me? Why do I have such a field around me in which I could store whatever foodstuffs I've been able to find before they were replaced? By the way, yes, foodstuffs is actually what I'm reading here. That's actually in there. Maybe it sought to play with me, punish me, or even thank me in its own little way. It matters not. As I write this last part on paper and pen, I've successfully managed to keep my little pocket of safety and meaning. Most of the elements of the earth and its crust have turned into the inert and nameless element the symbol is and represents. Perhaps this cancerous element is made up of countless smaller symbols. I do not know. The Earth's magnetic field is waning, and soon all will cook. Unless the stars, and our sun with it, turns to titanic symbols before that, of course. Perhaps my entire universe will turn into that one great symbol. Piece by piece it has, after all, sought to cover every element, concept, or whatever else comes to mind. It will become everything soon. Perhaps it is lonely, the symbol. Perhaps my message will come across your dimension once I've given up. Maybe it will not. All I know is that I've remained safe, and while the ruination of my universe does not stir any emotion in me, the thought of the symbol enveloping another dimension, or all of them, like tumor, fills me with dread, even while nothing else can. And that was the Memetic symbol by Author Unknown. Some weird sentence structuring there, I noticed, but with someone that has the same flaws in my own writing, I can live with this. House of Jen, not gonna lie, it sounds like a Google Translate assist story. It might very well be, Jen. It might very well be. I was actually thinking the same thing if it was translated horribly through Google Translate, but yeah, I'm actually almost convinced it might be exactly that. Almost. Considering that I don't really use Google Translate and I make similar mistakes, just not to that extent. And even back then, like 4 to 5 years ago or before that, my English was not as great as it is now, but it certainly was above average, so I'd say that whoever wrote this in 2011 definitely was in the same ballpark as me. Scrutinized every page of the dictionary. That's an attention span to envy. Yes. Yes, it is. To be honest, I was getting a little, not bored with the story, definitely not bored, but, I was getting a little tired about the mayonnaise stuff. Like, I know what they were trying to convey with the mayonnaise, but, you know, here's the thing. I'm a Belgian. Mayonnaise is practically in, like, 1/4 of all our dishes. So when you've seen it enough and now you're reading it over and over again, it's a little tiresome, not gonna lie. Not a boring story by any means of the imagination, but very interesting. It kind of reminded me of the yellow symbol of Hester, the Yellow King. I'm not entirely sure. Is it the yellow? Hang on a second. I have the book right here. It's a sec. Found it. So, yes, so this Memetic symbol gave me a lot of flashbacks about the King in Yellow, where Hester, the King in Yellow, has a particular symbol that can and will drive you mad. The yellow sign, if you will. Very good read. It's written by, what's his name? Robert Chambers. Highly recommend to read. It's nowhere near the quality of Lovecraft, but it does predate Lovecraft. So, you know, cosmic horror pre-Lovecraft is definitely an interesting subject to read, I promise. House of Jen, good story, just needs some polish. Agreed. It does need some polish. Completely agreed. It's a good story. Definitely not boring, but it definitely needs some polishing. I don't know if the author is active in any way. Again, it's a story from 2011, so I don't think they are. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are past the 2-hour mark of this stream, which means I'm going to have to let all of you of my captive audience go. I know, sad snips. But I do need to recover a little bit more, and I need to spend some more time in my sanctum, if you will. I would love to stay on more, but again, I'm not feeling a full 100%, but I am getting there. Anyways, I want to thank everyone that has come here to join me on this live stream. You are the reason that I'm still doing this live stream, and YouTube, that is. And once again, the artwork shown on the screen is made by Fleshwatt Co. There should be a link somewhere in the chat. By all means, if you want to have an art commission done by her, or just want to admire her art as it is, go visit the Instagram link in the chat. Highly recommend them. Well then, with that all said, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you all a very fond adieu. And remember, in tenebris veritas.